Sometimes kindness shows up in the smallest moments. A broken down car, a stranger on the side of the road, a choice to stop when it would be easier to keep driving. And sometimes that simple choice changes everything. This is a story about love lost, lives lived apart, and how one act of kindness can reopen doors we thought were closed forever. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. You're watching your channel name, and we're glad you are here. Michael Carter was running late. Again. The morning had started the same way most mornings did for him. His 7-year-old daughter, Lily, couldn't find her favorite sweater. His coffee went cold before he took a sip, and the old pickup truck coughed twice before finally starting, as if reminding him it had seen better days. Michael was a single dad living just outside Columbus, Ohio. Since his wife passed away 3 years earlier, life had become a careful balancing act between work, parenting, and grief he rarely talked about. He worked as a freelance mechanic, picking up jobs wherever he could. Some weeks were good, others were tight. But he always made sure Lily had what she needed. That morning, he was on his way to Lily's school for a parent volunteer meeting. He didn't want to miss it. He never wanted her to feel like she came second to anything. As he drove along the highway, something caught his eye. On the shoulder of the road sat a sleek black luxury sedan, hazard lights blinking. The hood was open. A woman stood beside it, phone pressed to her ear, her posture stiff with frustration. Michael slowed down. He glanced at the clock. If he stopped, he'd be late, again. But he also knew what it felt like to be stranded, helpless, hoping someone would care enough to stop. With a quiet sigh, he pulled over. "You okay?" he called out as he stepped from his truck. The woman turned, clearly startled. She was in her early 40s, dressed in a tailored gray suit, her heels planted awkwardly on the gravel. Her hair was pulled back neatly, but stress showed in her eyes. "My car just died," she said. "I've called roadside assistance, but they're saying it could be an hour." Michael nodded. "Mind if I take a look? I'm a mechanic." She hesitated for a split second, then stepped aside. "Please." Michael leaned under the hood, his hands moving from habit and years of experience. Within minutes, he spotted the problem. A loose battery cable, something simple. He tightened it, wiped his hands on a rag, and nodded toward the driver's seat. "Try it now." The engine turned over smoothly. Her eyes widened. "Oh my God, that was fast," he smiled. "Sometimes it's the small things." She looked at him more closely now, as if something about his face tugged at her memory. Michael felt it too, a strange familiarity, a sense he couldn't place. "Thank you," she said. "Really, I don't even know how to repay you." "No need," he replied. "Just glad I could help." She reached into her purse, pulling out her wallet. "At least let me give you something." Michael gently shook his head. "I've got a kid waiting on me. That's payment enough." At the word kid, her expression softened. Before she could say anything else, Michael closed the hood and started back toward his truck. Then she spoke his name. "Michael?" He froze. Slowly he turned around. "Yes?" he said, unsure. Her breath caught. "It's me. Sarah?" The world seemed to tilt. Sarah Whitman, the girl who had been his everything in his 20s, his first real love, the woman he thought he'd marry. They'd met in college. 2 kids with big dreams and empty pockets. They'd talked for hours about the future, about building something meaningful. But life had pulled them in different directions. Sarah had been offered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity in New York. Michael had family obligations that kept him in Ohio. They promised they'd find a way. They didn't. Time, distance, and silence did what? Neither of them wanted to admit. They drifted apart, and one day, the calls stopped. Now, she stood in front of him, older, polished, successful. The woman had seen in business magazines and news articles, the millionaire CEO of a fast-growing tech company. And here he was, grease on his hands, driving an old truck, late to a school meeting. "Sarah," he said quietly. Wow. They stared at each other, memories rushing back like a wave. I can't believe it's you, she said. I almost didn't recognize you. He smiled faintly. You look happy. She hesitated. Successful, yes. Happy, that's complicated. They laughed softly, the tension easing just a little. I was headed to a meeting, she said, but I think the universe just changed my schedule. Michael glanced at the road, then back at her. I really should go. My daughter, you have a daughter? She asked, surprised. Yeah, Lily. She's 7. Something shifted in Sarah's eyes. Regret, maybe, or curiosity. Would you get coffee with me sometime? She asked. I'd love to catch up. No pressure. Michael hesitated. Life had taught him to be careful, but kindness had brought him here. And something told him this moment mattered. Okay, he said. Coffee sounds nice. They exchanged numbers, hands brushing briefly as the phone changed owners. A small spark, familiar, warm. Over the next few weeks, coffee turned into long conversations. Stories were shared, pasts uncovered. Michael spoke about his wife, about loss, about learning to be both mom and dad. Sarah spoke about ambition, loneliness, and how success didn't always fill the spaces she thought it would. One afternoon, Sarah surprised him. I want to help you, she said gently. Michael stiffened. I don't need charity. She reached across the table. I know. That's not what this is. I have an opening at my company. We need someone to oversee vehicle maintenance and logistics. You're perfect for it. He stared at her. I wouldn't know the first thing about corporate life. She smiled. You know people. You know work. And you know kindness. That's harder to teach than spreadsheets. Michael took the job. For the first time in years, things felt steady. Lily had better schools. Michael slept easier. And slowly, carefully, he and Sarah allowed something new to grow. Not a recreation of the past, but a deeper, more honest connection. One evening, as Michael tucked Lily into bed, she looked up at him. Daddy, she said, why are you smiling more? He paused, then kissed her forehead. Because someone reminded me that being kind can change your life. Months later, Michael and Sarah stood on that same stretch of highway, watching cars rush by, the place where everything had started again. If you hadn't stopped, Sarah said softly, our lives would still be separate. Michael nodded. I almost didn't. But you did, she said. That matters. Michael had learned something powerful. Kindness doesn't ask who someone is or what they have. It doesn't check bank accounts or titles. It simply shows up. And sometimes it brings back love. Sometimes it builds new futures. And sometimes it reminds us that the smallest good deeds can lead to the biggest blessings. So the next time you see someone in need, remember this story. One stop. One act of kindness. One moment that can change everything. And maybe, just maybe, it will change your life too.